Back-to-back state championships for the North Summit Braves. We talked to two of their top runners about what the future holds for this pending dynasty. Also, a tough loss down south last week. Our final chat with Coach Roof about the future of South Summit football. It's a brand new episode of The Scoreboard, and it's coming up right now. Well, it's been a couple of dominant years for the North Summit Braves, not just in track and field, but also in cross country. I talked to a couple of runners up in Colville about this streak that the team has been on. Hey everyone, right now we are joined by two state champions over at North Summit High School. We've got Ruth Sargent as well as her sister Charlie. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time. How have things been just a couple of days after, or a couple of weeks, I guess I should say, after the state championship?
It's been really good. We're going to have our banquet next week, but it's been really good, you know. It's nice, to feel, relief, after you win and, all your hard work was put to good use.
I agree, and also we get a lot of support as we walk through the halls still, so it's cool.
Yeah, what is it like kind of just being around the school? I mean, cross country and just long distance running in general here at North Summit, it's just in the water here. I mean, everyone is so good at it, it seems like. What's it like kind of being like some of the faces of such a successful program?
I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool because people noticed you ran, you won a state championship, which is pretty awesome, but yeah, running is a really big thing at North Summit, so it was cool to win another state championship.
It's pretty swaggy. We walk around and people are just congratulating us, and they know that the boys didn't take it, but they still did good, so they congratulate them, and they're also congratulating us, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, so for you, back-to-back state championships, I mean, that's
Yes.
pretty cool being a junior.
Yes, that was really cool. I was really excited about it.
How much did you go into this season thinking to yourself, I think we're going to go back-to-back this year?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I wanted it so badly, and so we really put in the work, and we have a great coach who helps us put in the work too. So.
And what was it like for you? It's your first season. I mean, what was it like just dealing with high school sports in general? Obviously, your first season doing something this big. What was it like?
It was different from what I'm used to because I had never ran long distance before, so I went into it having high expectations of hopefully winning, but then also we didn't really know. I didn't really know what it was going to be like.
Yeah, that's kind of a big question that I kind of have for people who come into cross country, because I mean, you don't really sign up for a youth cross country league growing up. I mean, you just kind of play soccer or something and then you go do cross country. What led you to want to do it?
Obviously Charlie, and then I also have Sadie Sargent, a cousin that really pushed us to do it.
Yeah, and Sadie is a BYU runner,
Yes.
correct? And that must be pretty cool to have kind of a family of runners. Do you take a lot of inspiration and do you get a lot of tips from her and things like that for training and all other things, I guess I should say?
Yeah, she really helps us out. She's really supportive about it because she really understands how mentally and physically challenging it is. So it's nice to have someone who can relate to you and help you to just be you just got to push past those boundaries, which is nice.
I got to ask both of you because personally, as someone who played basketball and does MMA and all sorts of different stuff, I've never been into running. What is it about running that both of you love so much? What is it that makes you want to do that? Because it's just an unbelievable thing.
I think the team and is a really big part of it. Running here at North Summit, we have really good teams and they're really supportive of each other. And the coaches are great coaches. They're always there for you no matter what. And it's just you can come there and you know it's just somewhere good to be, that you'll be supported and that people will 100% want to help you with anything.
Yeah. What was the competition like this year? How difficult was it to gain another state championship this year?
Well, it was very similar to last year. It was us and Millard, but we kind of knew coming into it that we could we could do it if we really pushed ourselves, and everybody on the team did their part and pushed themselves, and we all did so exceptionally, like, really good. So that was really great.
Rue, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I went to watch state cross country last year, watch her run, and I saw like how challenging it was going to be, and just looking at it, I knew it was going to be hard to compete with Millard.
Yeah. Is the difficulty of the sport something that almost draws you to it, do you think?
Yeah, I think it could be seen as that. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to want to keep practicing all season because you're running so many miles, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of fun. Like, we did a 10-mile run at some point this season, and it was actually really fun to just all the girls, we all ran together, and we were all like there for each other, and it can be fun. It can be fun.
Looking into the future, you have 1 more year, you have 3 more years. How talented do you think this team is, and how many more state championships do you think that this team can garner over the next 3 years?
I think we can get a couple more, and the incoming freshmen will also help, and we keep pushing ourselves and training harder. Yeah.
Are you aware of any specific 8th graders that are coming into next year that are going to be really solid?
No, not that I know of. I'm just hoping we get some.
And Charlie, for you, I mean, I'm sure it must be huge to you to think to yourself, hey, I want a 3rd state championship. I want 3 in a row.
Yes, I definitely think it's possible. We have a good backbone. You have amazing support from like the whole community and like our school, and then we have a great coach who's willing to push us. So I definitely think it's possible for them to take it the next 3 years if they really try and work for it and want it.
When I think of North Summit, I think of some of the most talented sports being obviously cross country, who just won state, but also track and field, who just won state last year as well. I mean, the running sports just continue to pile up. The state championships continue to pile up. And so going into the spring, thinking about the spring, I should say, are either of you thinking about potentially doing track and field this next year?
Oh, 100% I am. I love track.
I'm just going to do it because following Charlie's footsteps.
Hey, let me ask you about that, actually. That's really interesting. So is she someone that, I mean, I don't mean for this to be all super nice and lovey-dovey, but is she someone that you really look up to and someone who you really try to model your running game after and all sorts of other stuff?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, her freshman year, she was so speedy, and I just wanted to push my limits and try to beat her in everything.
Yeah. Does it get competitive? Because there is only, I would say, 2 years, I think, between the two of you, or 3 years. So
2.
That's not a whole lot of time. And so I would assume that growing up, the two of you have been very competitive with each other all your life.
Yeah, we definitely have.
Yeah. But that probably brings a lot of fun into the sports that you do. And as you're getting older and maturing and growing up a little bit, you realize, wow, this is something that the two of us are really good at. We really enjoy to do. Is that something that you realized as you're getting older?
Yeah.
We're very competitive with each other, which I think helps us push each other. But come track season, we'll see. I think we'll really push each other to be the best that we can be. But
What events are the two of you probably looking forward to competing in track in the spring?
well, I usually run distance, so I ran the 2-mile, the mile, the 800, and the 4x4 for my last 2 years. But yeah, I think those are probably the ones I'll probably stick with, just more long distance. But you never know. I guess it could change, but that's probably where my stronger suit is at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'll probably do longer, and then I also want to try the 400.
Oh, okay.
Which will be
Yeah,
pretty fun.
the 400 and the 800 are probably two toughest.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait. We'll be covering it, so I can't wait to see how the two of you do and how the entire team does. I mean, it's going to be really exciting.
Looking forward to it.
Overall, Charlie, this might be more of a question for you. Over the last 3 years that you've been on this team, you have 3 completed seasons, you've got 1 more. What would you say is the number 1 memory you've had throughout the 3 years?
Oh, I think it's after you win and you see how excited everybody is and how much the team like is so happy for each other. I mean, you shed a few tears because you lose the seniors, but everybody's really excited and really proud of each other because you put in all that work and effort, and then you come out on top, which I think really helps the sport be fun.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And Rue, for you, just in the 1 season that you've had so far, what has maybe been your favorite thing about joining this team, joining this sport, and learning more about it?
Definitely, I made a lot of new friends, and then seeing everybody so happy after the girls took state. We even knew we were going to win it, as we were crossing the line, because the guy announced that North Summit was going to win it. And it was just so exciting, and we were jumping up and down, and then the check-around after just made it so much better.
Tradition.
It's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you and get to know the program a little bit more. It's been unbelievable. Last question from me for both of you. One word to describe this season.
Swaggy.
Swaggy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. I don't know. One word? I think exceptional, because we all had an exceptional performance. We had exceptional coaches. We it was just exceptional. Really, it was really good on everybody's part.
Well, it absolutely has been a fantastic season. We can't wait for next year, and we can't wait for the spring to see both of you competing in track and field as well. Thank you both so much for the time. We really appreciate it. Hey everyone, right now we have a very special guest. For the last time this year for Fall Sports, we've got Coach Roof in studio to talk a little bit about the South Summit football season. And Coach, how you doing? Thanks so much for being here.
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks for having me here. I'm glad to be here. You've always been a great support for South Summit football this year, and I'm just glad to be able to come talk to you again.
Well, we're here to talk a little bit about the season. We're unfortunately talking to you a little bit earlier than we were hoping for, but I've just got to ask you, how do you feel like this season has played out?
Our kids have played so good. It's been great. They've done everything we've asked them to do. They worked hard. Obviously, it didn't work out the way we were hoping in the end, but that doesn't take away anything from the phenomenal season those kids had.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable season, and then near the end of the year, it just seemed like a couple little challenges were popping up left and right. Did you feel that way? Did you feel like there were just little things that were happening every single week between weeks 9 and 12 that just kind of started to derail the roster and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, injuries. We got plagued by injuries this year. Lots of teams did, right? I'm not saying that was our major downfall, but some key injuries we struggled with a little bit. I think, we struggled with turnovers late. That's always hard, right? You get going and things go really well and you're clicking and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden you start having a little turnover here, and it's hard not to let that escalate into something bigger. Trying to keep the kids motivated and confident in what they're doing. But I think overall, even in those end games, I mean, our kids played really, really well.
Yeah. How proud are you of this team? I mean, they did have a fantastic season. How proud are you just as their head coach?
Oh, I don't know how to put that into words. I love these kids. It's been the greatest. I've told them it's been the greatest experience of my life being able to coach these kids. They're phenomenal. The brotherhood that they had, the willingness to do anything we asked them to do, the sacrifice that a lot of them gave to making it as successful as possible. I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah. In terms of filling the holes now, I mean, I think about the offense and the defense. There's a lot of returners, but there's also some key players leaving. Obviously, Kale will be one of the best offensive players in the entire state. He's graduating. Juan Ramirez, he's going to be graduating as well. But you also, on the other side, have Bracken Lashley. You still have Brady Freeman. You still have Noah Gunnarsson. I mean, there's still players that are going to be coming back. But who do you think are going to fill some of those holes, specifically on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard when you lose a player like Kelby or Juan or I mean, a whole ton of them, right? Our line, we're losing a number of senior linemen, a couple middle linebackers, right? The really exciting thing for me is the fact that we've got a whole lot of juniors that are really good that, you know, at multiple points could have stepped in and taken those roles and are now going to be able to step into that role and take it on. It's a unique role. Yeah, we're losing 11 seniors. Well, we're bringing back in, we've got 28 juniors now moving into that senior role. All kids that had significant time this year and play really well. And, you know, the difference from the senior to the junior may not have been very much, right? Just that age and that size and that experience a little bit, but it's not going to be much of a step down. And as these kids work through the summer and get into seniors, it may be equal or step up, but we'll see what they do. But
next year, the schedule specifically, do you think you're going to make any changes to your schedule going into this next year? considering undefeated the last 2 regular seasons, and then the last 2 years in the playoffs, facing some tougher matchups and things like that. Do you find that you're going to maybe try to have some tougher games in the regular season to kind of polish up and get ready for bigger teams like the Beavers, like the San Juans, and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've been discussing and talking about. I would absolutely like to. It's hard, at the beginning of the game or beginning of the year when you're trying to make that schedule. Nobody knows who's going to turn out, right? I mean, teams that were on our schedule this year in past years have been really strong, right? And this year they just had kind of a down year, and it's hard to know exactly where that's at. We have been in discussions of trying to change maybe different looks of teams, maybe not all a certain type of offense or whatever, trying to get more of the hard-nosed run offense that it looks like we're going to continue to face year after year, right? Some of those tough teams. And so we've talked about those kind of things. We'll see what we can get worked out, if we can make it work with those other teams. But I don't want to say that it's just a product of our schedule, because again, take the Marsh Valley game up in Idaho. Last year, those guys were in the semifinals, and a tough team played a really tough game, and this year they had just kind of a down year. But at the beginning of the year, none of that was expected. They were expected to be tough again, and so it's hard to know really what you're going to face. But
looking back at this season, it's your first season as the head coach, and you've told me multiple times, on camera, off camera, that this is the most fun that you have ever had. What would you say for you was maybe the highlight of the year, your favorite moment of the entire football season?
It's kind of a personal experience. We had a family situation that was kind of tough to go through, and I missed a couple days of practice right in the middle of the season due to that. And when I came back, I walked out on the field, and my players all just kind of surrounded me and engulfed me and just said, "Coach, we love you, we got you." And that's when I knew that we had created something special. These kids, man, they're incredible.
Yeah. What do you think was the difference this year? Because I don't mean to harp on the past or anything like that, but I've talked to football players about seasons past, and they said that it's nothing like this year. What do you think you did when you came into this role? What do you think you did at the helm to bring them together? And I don't mean to boost your ego or make you sound like, oh, I did all these great things, but what do you think changed this year in comparison to last year? Both teams, I mean, every year you guys have been good, but this year it seemed different in terms of the emotional side. It seemed like the team was built together and wanted to be there for each other, and it was a family.
I think they've done great in years past. I think there's been more of that than I think kids realize in years past. One of the things that I think uniquely I bring to the table, not that it's necessarily better than anyone else, it's just different, right, is kind of my military background. We tried to bring that involvement into it. And, as an assistant coach on the past, we tried to do that as well. But obviously as a head coach, you have more of that influence, right, is really what. And so that was what I tried to focus on, trying to create that brotherhood like I had in my military teams and different experiences that I've had in my life. I think, again, I think our kids in the past have done really well to try and build that as well. This year, just to brag up our seniors, not saying that others didn't do this, right? But our seniors this year really stepped into that role. We created a leadership council of our entire senior group, and we would meet together every week and say, what do you want to see out of this team? If we had disciplinary issues, we involved the kids in those decisions. What's the expectation you want to have out of this team, and how are you going to enforce that no matter who it is?
Is that something that you think you'll keep as long as you remain as head coach?
I would really like to. I mean, we make some changes. Obviously, I can't put all 28 seniors on a leadership council, and I'm not even saying that was 100% right. We could have done it maybe a little different as the season went on. We could have done something differently, where we could have added some juniors and some sophomores. And I think we'll look at that, maybe a few sophomores, a few more juniors, and then mostly seniors, to get you those different perspectives.
Could you speak a little bit on your coaching staff? Before we turn on the cameras, you were talking about how you have the best coaching staff, and I'd agree. I mean, you have an incredible group of coaches on your side. Could you just speak a little bit on them and how much they meant to you this season, how key they were to this successful season?
Oh, absolutely key. I love my assistant coaches. And you know, one thing that's been, I don't know how to coach any different, right? I'm not even saying it's unique to us, but one thing we did is we were one team, right? We had our voice, and eventually, you know, we'd take that voice in, and then I'd make a decision on what we wanted to do. But I didn't pretend to have all the answers. Far from it, right? You hire good, amazing people in their jobs, and then let them do their job. And I was lucky enough to have all these amazing assistants that were most of it on staff already, right? We added a couple that turned out to be phenomenal for us as well. But I love the brotherhood we've had in that group, right? Did we disagree? Yeah. But were we able to have that united front? Absolutely. And I think the boys saw that, and they fed off of it, and it created something great.
When you look into the future, where is your excitement level at for the future? I think it's bright, but I mean, I'm wondering, what do you think the future holds for the South Summit Wildcats?
Oh, our future is very bright. Like I was telling you, we've got a bunch of juniors ready to step up, and right behind them we've got just as many sophomores, and right behind them we've got just as many freshmen. And we would like to think that we've got 8th graders ready to step into that role. I mean, we've got a lot of kids that are excited about football in Camas right now. One thing we've done this year is each week we brought a couple of our Ute League little kids to practices, and then let them run out of the tunnel with us too, and tried to get them involved in our team meetings, and just try to build that brotherhood of we're one team, we're just at different levels. And I learned that from USA Swimming, actually, that the USA Swimming is a giant organization that involves the Olympic team, and then all the way down to brand new swimmers. But it's all one team, actually. It's just where you fit on that team.
Last question from me. In terms of the interim tag, it's still there, quote unquote. We're hoping that you're going to be the head coach, but could you just give us an update on what that process is going to look like during the offseason?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. They're working on it right now, is what they've said. I would like to think that hopefully we've done enough here this year to create a positive atmosphere and a good environment for these kids that they would want to keep us around as an administration. And they've talked about that. I mean, the administration's been great with us. I think they're trying to decide whether they're going to just remove the tag or open the job. And even if they open it, I mean, I'm going to apply. I want this job. I want to be the coach here. I love these kids. Hopefully they've had an experience that they absolutely love, and they want to keep us too. But I guess we'll see.
Well, I can't say as a journalist, but I'm going to say it anyways. I hope it's you at the beginning of next season as well, Coach. Thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for watching The Scoreboard. On Tuesday, we talked to Kurt Futch, the new head coach of Park City Wrestling, as we head into the 2022-2023 season. For everyone here at The Scoreboard, I am Blake O'Rourke, and we will see you all next time.